Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to another episode of Naked Relationships, Intimacy Unlocked.
Welcome to the carnival, I'm the ringleader now. Don't hear a sound at all, it's out, bury you 6 feet underground.
So today we're going to do things a little differently. Let's look up some word definitions. What does real mean? It is actually existing as a thing or occurring in fact, not imagined or supposed. In other words, Julius Caesar was a real person. Now, when you look up relationships, the Free Wiktionary says relationships most often refer to family relations and relatives, interpersonal relationships, a strong, deep, or close association or acquaintance between two or more people, correlation with dependence relationships in mathematics, statistics. So it's kind of broad with relationships, right? What does sassy mean? Lively, bold, and full of spirit, girl. Lots of cheeky, right? All right. What is classy? I'll have a reason for this in a moment, okay? So classy is showing class, basically, having grace. So you are showing behavior that is reflecting high standards or personal behavior. It also means that it's admirable, skillful, and graceful. Okay? Now, I'll just get real with you. Raw, it means red and painful. Unfiltered. Filtered is a porous device for removing impurities or solid particles from a liquid or gas passed through it. So, unfiltered would mean that those filters are not working, right? So basically what's happening is you're holding all those impurities in. So what we are doing in this podcast, because I've heard some comments and I absolutely love comments. I love bad comments, good comments, because I am not that person that's going to be like, excuse me, that's my ego you're talking to. And I think I know everything about relationships. I don't. I'm still fucking figuring it out. I mean, come on, I'm 36 and I'm finally found a man that is so connected and so honest and so loving, right? Because here's the thing, right? We have the words real, raw, unfiltered, sassy, classy. All of those bundle into the version of me that I have become, or rather the version of me that I have accepted exists. So I'm raw. I'm real. I don't talk about fictional stuff. I talk about hard facts that I have experienced myself, or facts that other people have told me they have experienced. Not these, I do theory only when it goes along, right? Because I am getting my bachelor's for behavioral health science, which by the way is like my 4th degree. But I am a firm believer you must be learning until you die, basically, right? So I don't want anyone to think that I'm offended. I love it. I love it. Like if you are married and you have a relationship and you're still trying to find stuff to build that connection. Yes, girl, I fucking love that, right? If you are a single girl and you're trying to work on those connections, yes, queen. Okay. We're a bunch of fucked up individuals. We all have pasts. I mean, I had so many bad relationships. I am going off of all the mistakes that I made, right? And the things that I've heard from the long relationships, because the thing that I have found is that whether you have a long relationship, like you've been with them for a long time, or it's a family dynamic, or it's a coworker, the foundation is still the same, right? It's like when you get older, you have this like preconceived notion of everything, right? Because of all these learned behaviors, right? Whether it's fear, anxiety, shame, blame, guilt, all the things. What happens is that we take those things and we let them define who we are. Which is why in my program that I do for women, the 8-week Finally Connected program, we go over truth. We go over how to not blame yourself anymore, how to take accountability, how to actually build. Because in all of these relationship dynamics, it is not about the fact that one person knows more than the other. It is about the fact that you always need to reconnect to yourself. I don't care if you are 70 years old. It is always beneficial. And the growth inside of you can always grow throughout your entire life, right? And where I am definitely not well versed in healthy marriages, I can say that I've learned a lot from my unhealthy marriages. And, I'm not a marriage counselor, but I can say, again, that I've dealt with about 10 different therapists. I had 3 therapists of my own. And a lot of times, even the therapists that I dealt with for my kids, they ask my opinion, they ask my advice, because I am constantly studying and learning. Now, that's not to say that I'm trying to boost my own ego or I'm trying to prove something. What I'm saying is I have a true desire for everybody to question everything. Question it. Question me. Constantly, please. I want to be questioned. I want to be told that I don't know what I'm doing, because that is how you keep your ego push the fuck down and you're continuously growing. You feel me? Because I have the experience, but not the degree, right? Because what happens when you start a job? When you start a job, after you get out of college, right, you get a degree and they're like, it's hard to get a job, right? Oh, you need experience. You need experience. Well, I'd get experience if you'd hire me, right? It's the same for the opposite, right? You have the experience, but you don't have the degree. The only reason I am working on another degree is because I find human behaviors in the brain so fascinating. The hippocampus, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, those are so beautiful to me, because when we can connect with our bodies, it's almost like you can feel every feeling within you, so that when you are sitting there and you're married for 30 years, you can sit there and say, babe, I just learned something new about you. Well, I just learned something new about me, right? But it is the fear in and of itself that holds us back from wanting to learn these things, right? It's easier to put blame on somebody else and say they don't know what the fuck they're doing, when actuality, it's our preconceived notions. It's them telling us, you can't listen to them. No, you don't know anything from them. I learned so much from my 9-year-old. Why? Because I truly believe that if you are willing and open, you could learn from anyone. I got those comments and I was like, yes, something, I want to hear it. I want women to have voices. I want children to have voices. I want men to have voices. I want our voices heard. I want people to know that they matter. And the moment that we start degrading anybody is the moment that we're stopping growing, right? I had to learn that the hard way, pushing everybody away. It's like, no, sorry, you're not cute enough. You're not sweet enough. You're not popular enough. And so it goes and goes. And I was pushed down always in relationships, with significant other, relationships with my kids. I was degraded. I mean, hell, my ex-husband was so abusive that my kids took on those traits. Bitch. I was like, what? 6 years old. It is their behavior. It is not who they are. So you can use the things that you learn in every avenue, only if you are willing to accept that they exist. Feel me? Now, I wanted to talk just a little more why I chose those words. Now, relationships, yes, that can be broad, right? Which is why my program, my foundational program, is working on yourself. Now, in order to work on yourself, as I've already said, you have to be willing, right? Well, that means you have to be real with yourself. Don't look at the outside. What's actually going on? You can sit there and say that she's pissing you off because she doesn't understand you. Or is it because she's showing a behavior that you are not brave enough to do yourself? Is it because that child is pissing you off so much because they're able to have boundaries that you've never learned to set, and you are vengeful? You're resentful. It is about learning those things. Unfiltered. Cap off, babe. We're not fucking doing that. Just let it out, right? We're not, oh, take out this, take out this. No, we don't want just the sass and the sweet lovey-dovey. Oh, I love rainbows and I love this, right? Those are good. But what happens with those other parts? Shadows. You just shove those shadows in and you're like, actually, I'm busy right now. So if you could just shut the fuck up, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Bye. Right? And then we shove them down. I'm not angry. Why can't you be angry? It is not you yourself that's bad about being angry. It is society's viewpoint of you that's bad, that's making you angry, and then it's making you feel like you can't be angry, rather. Right? I mean, think about it. It is so mind-blowing to me how we put ourselves in these little tiny boxes because people tell us to, and then we go and we shrink ourselves because they would rather us shrink ourselves, because the thought of us shooting up terrifies them. But instead of us seeing that, we listen to the negative. You ever notice that you think on memories and you're like, oh, I remember that. And you just focus on the negative. Why? Because that's all you were thinking about in that moment. That is exactly what my program is about. It is about looking at the bad parts, the quote unquote bad parts, and realizing that nothing is bad or good. It just is. It is when you don't accept that you have these parts that they start shooting up like a soda bottle. You know, you just shake it the fuck up and then you're like, ah, right? You know, it's happened. I used to do it as a kid all the time. I fucking love that shit. My kids do it all the time. They do this thing where they like put their tongue inside of it too, and they like I don't understand it. I've seen so many kids do it, and I'm like, I don't even know. Some things better left unsaid. Anyways, my point is that there are so many things to learn constantly. I don't want anybody's voice to be silenced. Don't ever silence who you are. If you want real connection and intimacy, you accept it within yourself. Now, I may not know everything, but I fucking know that. I know that I can sit there and say, I was such a bitch right now. My bad. Do you know how much power that takes to be able to own if you're bitchy, own if you were frustrated, own if you were insecure, own if your friend hurt your feelings, and then if you tell them your feelings were hurt, and then they talk shit to you because they can't hold that space. Do you see what I'm saying? I had a relationship where he would come in to my house and he would correct everything. Like I made this like mural on the wall. It was so gorgeous. It took us hours. My daughter and I, we did it together. And he comes in, it's crooked. It's this, it's that, it's that. And you're just like, I'll go fuck myself, right? I mean, it's so easy for us to sit there and correct everybody else. But that's why I tell my ladies, right? Or anybody that I work with, because I've worked with men and I've worked with kids. What I tell everyone is that it is not about what you know. It is about what you could know and what you don't know. That is where it's truly found. Because the reason that we strive, how many books do you read and you're like, I still don't get it? That was me. How many times do you ask for advice from so many people and you're like, I don't get it? It's because you're going on the surface level. You are asking other people for advice because you can't give it to yourself and hold that space. You can't hold that space of your friend not apologizing for their actions. You are not responsible for anybody else but yourself. Am I right? You know I'm fucking right. You are only responsible for how you hold yourself because you are classy. You hold yourself to a standard. You respect and honor who you are, but you do it with sass, girl. You do it with fun and joy, and don't ever let anybody on social media, anywhere, don't let anybody take your joy. Don't let anybody take your pain. If somebody's trying to hold your pain, you say, that's so sweet of you, but also this is my pain and I need to bear it. The more you can hold your own self, the more your body feels safe to be who they really are, to shine who they really are. Relationships come and go. Your kids, they move out. Your significant other could die, could cheat on you. You don't know. Sometimes we sit there and we're like, I know them so well, right? And then they do some shit and you're like, what the fuck? What? I promised the kids I would not give specifics on things that they've done, okay? But let me just say that they've done some stuff where I am like, even law enforcement is like, what the fuck? Like, did you just give up on your kids? Why are they acting like that? Because it's a learned behavior. When you can take the emotion out and look at it without letting your ego take control, because your ego is just trying to protect you. So if you can take that emotion and that ego and say, you are valid, but right now I actually need you to take a seat. When you can do that and you can sit there and own, that is power. When you can tell your child that they had a bad day and you say, what did you learn from that? And they go down a list. Well, I learned, listen, 8 years old. Well, I learned that my lower brain was not connecting to my upper brain. 8. With trauma. When you can see a person with potential, once they love and own themselves, then we can stop so much anger, because we're okay that we have anger sometimes. We're okay that we have emotions, but nobody is a punching bag. Nobody. I don't care who you are. I mean, my ex-husband was so incredibly abusive, and he's not even my punching bag, because hurt people hurt people. And true power is in loving and connecting with yourself so fucking much that relationships around you are just that. You can hold yourself in the pain. You can hold yourself in the discomfort. You can hold yourself in the guilt, but you can love the shit out of yourself. That is fucking power. And that is the most wonderful thing that I have ever experienced. Being able to feel your emotions without getting high or smoking weed, taking edibles. Like I had all this trauma. I did it all. And you know what's so beautiful is being with a man that proposes to you, which, by the way, that's my ring. For those of you who are listening to my podcast, sorry you can't see it because it's a fly. But listen, this man was so nervous and clumsy, and he went on one knee, and I just cried, because being able to feel those feelings completely sober without having to smoke a cigarette. And how many times do we get like stressed out and we're like wanting to jump to something, right? The only time I'll ever have a drink is if I know I'm emotionally all right, that I'm okay. And it's funny because we were gonna celebrate that night, and I was like, yeah, we can get some champagne. We took one shot while we were there, and both of us, like, instantly, we were like, And that's not to say that you can't drink. It's to say that I found someone who gets me. I found someone who loves my messy, who loves my silly, my goofy, my wild, my cray-cray, all of it. That is what connecting with yourself and connecting in relationships is all about. We're always trying to change everyone else instead of just accepting that you don't have to have everyone to feel full. Now, I know that was off topic, and I know it was kind of, it's a little, I literally just improv that shit, but it just came upon my heart because I saw some comments, and then I saw some other comments about those comments, and it's just this ripple, right? It's this spiraling down effect, right? And to me, I took my emotion out of it because, of course, you're human. So the first instinct is like, how dare they? Oh my goodness. But instead, the fucking power is being able to be like, that's super interesting. I really want to look up these words now and see if I even know what I'm talking about. How fucking awesome. Thank you. to anybody that comments on me, because I learn from all of it. And I want you to learn from all of it. And I want your voice to be heard. Tell me the kind of stuff you want to hear. Tell me the kind of videos you want to know about, or the kind of things you want to know about, the things that trigger you, the things that make you happy, the things that make you sad, the things you're not sure about. I want to know it all, because we don't know it until we know it. And with that, I'm going to say, I love you. Stay safe. Stay fucking awesome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, whatever the comment is. I am so fucking excited to hear it, because I'm excited to just connect and fucking feel. It's amazing. I love you all. Have a good day. Bye.